Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, October 24th, and welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie. Now, it is less than 2 weeks left until election. We have 12 days remaining. If you guys have not, please make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure you do your research on each candidate. I did my voting Monday. Make sure you guys are registered to go out and vote. Election day is November 5th. This election is very, very close, and a lot is at stake. And here's a bombshell. Trump and Fox News were exposed for editing the interview. Now, this is on the heels of Trump and Fox's phony outrage about VP Harris's 60 Minutes interview. So in order for us to get Kamala Harris over that finish line, we have to make sure that we are doing everything. There's a lot at stake in this upcoming election. And I must say that fascism and racism is at an all-time high in this country. This race is very, very close. So she is going to need every single vote. From Philadelphia to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina. These are the states that are at play. Make sure you are registered to vote. This election is very, very serious. And this is not one where you can sit on the couch and vote the couch. No, no. If you're not sure, do your research on each candidate. All right? So, let's get into today's show. Fashion Dolls, are y'all ready to have some good times here in the dollhouse? Are y'all ready and excited as I am? Our very special guest, this is his first time here in the dollhouse. He is an actor and playwright, and I'm super excited to welcome here in the dollhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me today, Dewayne Nelson.
Hey,
Hello.
how's it
Hello.
going?
I'm doing wonderful, handsome. How are you?
Good, good. It's been a busy day, but doing good.
Yes, it is such a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2024 been for you so far?
2024, it's been an interesting year. It's a pivotal year, I think, for me, just professionally and in other areas, but it's been pretty good. I really must say. It's a really good year, I think. And it's going to springboard into next year, I think, where a lot will happen, a lot of changes, not only for myself, but I think globally. We got so much going on, it's crazy times. So we got to stay prayed up and prepared,
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. We've had loss, we've had highs, we've had lows. So much has happened this year in 2024 alone.
Yeah.
So it seems like the months are going by out so
We,
fast. Before you
I
know
don't
it,
know, time must have sped up or something because it's weird. I swear it was like Monday yesterday.
absolutely. So let's get right into your story. Now, I like to start my interviews off with starting at the beginning of my guest's journey. So let's start from the beginning. Who is Dewayne Nelson? Now, I know who Dewayne Nelson is. He's an actor, he's a playwright, very talented, he's very handsome, he's fine. That's clearly obvious. um, but tell the people, who is Dewayne Nelson?
Who is Dwayne Nelson? Dwayne Nelson is definitely a creative individual, a deep thinker, um, an innovator, I like to say. I am somewhat of a introspective type of person, also very spiritual. I'm a Buddhist. I practice Buddhism. I've been a Buddhist for over 25 years. Um, and a nice guy. I think a nice guy.
Now, at what age did you discover the passion for acting? And are there some idols that you looked up to growing up that have done that?
Um, you know what? When I was a little boy, I loved, so my family would always take me to like shows, like circuses, ice shows, plays. So I got like a liking, a taste for just like spectacle, just in general. And then when I was really little, my stepfather, they enrolled me into like a circus performing type of camp. So I got to do really cool things. Like I got to, you know, learn about acrobatics, learn about little things like clowning. And it was affiliated, I don't know if you remember the big circus called the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus.
I remember.
So it was crazy. I was like one of those type of wild kids that love to run and jump and all that stuff. And so through that, I actually got to go in the summertime to do some stuff with the actual show, the actual traveling circus show. And so that's kind of how it got started.
Now, with that being said, let's start from the beginning to your acting journey. Now, what age did you discover that passion to go right on set, being on set? Because
Yeah.
at a
Um,
young age, our parents want us to grow up and they're just like,
yeah.
acting. You want to get into acting. They expect us to go to school and things, but it's just like, that's not the case all the time. So, what was
Yeah.
your parents' reaction to it saying, okay, this is something that I
They
want
were
to
like, go ahead, do your thing. Do especially my mother. My mother was like, she's like my biggest fan, first of all. Like she's, always down to like support and all that stuff. But she actually is the one, she got me into like it was like a teenage youth program where they did like a lot of theater type stuff. So that's also how I got into community theater in my 20s. So I started doing a lot of like plays with professional companies, and through that, producers started to hit me up and be like, "Hey, you want to work on this project?" I actually, through the community theater, I got on this PBS special. It was called Africans in America, and it was a docu-series. So I ended up doing that, and then from that, another thing followed through the History Channel, and then casting just took notice, of my talent, and I started getting bookings for commercial gigs.
And Lisa Rich says 4 years old. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I was doing stuff when I was real young. So,
That passion, that perseverance, you already knowing and have the mindset of what you want to do at a young age. That's incredible.
yeah.
Now, did you attend a conservatory for acting? Because most actors grow up and they're just like, okay, this is something that I really want to continue to do. I want to take lessons for it. I want to go to school for it. Did you
Yeah.
attend a conservatory?
Yeah. Yeah. So I trained with the TVI Actors Studio out in New York City.
Oh,
And
yes.
then it's crazy. I did a lot of private lessons, here and there. I kind of took a step back. I got my degree actually in theater education from Emerson. I'm also a theater arts teacher. I teach professionally, so I do that as well. So it's been, that type of thing where, I had conservatory training, but then it spilled over to, professional gigs that I would get too. So.
Now, I read somewhere, if you let me know if this is true, that you've been doing it for a very long time, for dang gun near, I want to say 11 years, 12 years you've been doing this?
Acting?
No,
Oh,
teaching,
teaching. Oh,
playwright.
actually over 17 years. Been
Wow.
teaching professional for 17 years.
And Queen Downhearted says he is a great teacher and motivator.
True. I like that.
Now, with that being said, would you see yourself also standing behind the lens as well to directing
Yeah,
and helping?
absolutely. I've done that. So last year I directed my second stage play. I actually did that at an education center with adults. We did this play called "Where's My Money." It was by Patrick Shanley, and the play is very, very intense. And the year before that, we actually did another play by Shanley. It was called Doubt. It was about the Catholic Church scandals. So
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely stepped into director mode. And I want to definitely do that more, especially as I, get older. So
Now, what acting techniques do you think is the best for you as an actor on the actor
yeah,
side?
I always say follow your instincts. So, we have so many good impulses, but the thing is, I think that we get, sidestepped by our minds. Our minds question everything. Even if something is good for us, we'll question it. So I always say pay attention to what you feel and go by your gut. Don't go by your head. And I tell my students that all the time, you know, and I think I follow that as well as an actor.
And I tell people this all the time, your gut intuition won't lead you wrong.
Nope,
Go with your gut instinct
nope.
all the time
Yeah,
as
because
an
it's our
actor.
oldest form of knowledge, really. Like it's what we use for survival. And so I always tell people, pay attention to your gut.
Now, which do you prefer? Because I know that they're both the same thing, like how we're doing this interview live right now. And I've asked an actor this not too long ago. Yes, I asked an actor this question not too long ago. And he does live theater as well too, stage. So with being on set or being in theater, you know, it's a complete, I mean, it's the same thing because you have an audience there. You're there to entertain the audience, but in real time, they can catch on to your mistakes. That's the funny part
Oh yeah,
because things like that happen. So which do you prefer, being on set like of a show or on set for theater?
I like theater because it's like it's a rush, it's an adrenaline rush, and anything
Oh
could
yeah.
happen. I mean, I've seen some things go down on stage where it's sort of like, okay, show must go on, you know. But it keeps you on your toes. It really keeps you on your toes.
And the anticipation from the audience. And what's so crazy is they talk back to the character, and
Oh yeah.
it's like, that should have
Oh
happened that way.
yeah.
I,
Yeah. No, it can get real animated. It can get real animated in the theater.
and we got a question from Queen Downhearted. I'm gonna take some questions from the audience as well too. She wants to know, what advice would you give a child that wants to act?
Um, Let your parents know. Let your parents know that's what you're into. Most of the times they already know because they're watching you, you know, and just communicate that, and see what they can do for you.
Absolutely, because they want to make sure every step of the way they're guiding this, that you want to do
Yep.
this. You know what they need to do, and there's so many courses, so many instructors out here that can help you and teach you and guide you along the way as well, to yourself included. But you've been doing this for 17 plus
Yeah.
years. It's a very long time. You've a vet. You've been doing it a very long time. So my next question for you is, what do you think can make a role challenging? Because I remember Taraji P. Henson, she said something. She said, I won't do it if it doesn't scare me. So for you, what makes a role challenging as the
A
actor?
role challenging if it's
Yes.
foreign to me. If it's something that I've never personally experienced, I have to be willing to go there and to allow myself to just be a part of whatever may come. It's funny that you said that because I was actually thinking a couple of days ago about a student. I had given her a piece of material that was intense, but I did it purposely to challenge her. And she was so scared. She was like, I don't know anything about that, you know? And so I basically was like, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to jump headfirst into it? And sometimes that's what's required, you know?
Absolutely. Now, would you identify any actors in the industry as role models? Which ones?
Um, hmm. I gotta say, I really took a liking to Coleman Domingo. I mean,
Oh,
he's fly. He's he's. You can tell he first of all, you can tell his foundation is theater. Just the way he breathes, the way he speaks, all that bass, that's theater, you know. And Viola Davis, love Viola Davis. Just she spits knowledge. I don't know if you ever seen any of her videos where she's just talking, doing interviews. Amazing.
the Woman King. That's what I call her, the Woman King. Because she did
Yeah.
an outstanding job. Uh-oh.
Yep.
And I'm flipping the camera around.
Okay.
Let me switch back. And there we are.
Okay.
And we got a question for you from Lisa. Lisa wants to know, what other talents do you have?
Other talents I have. So I'm also a playwright. Love to write plays. Almost finished with my play I've been working on for 3 years. I have so many drafts, but I'm on my final draft. And so I took liking to playwriting, and that's definitely, I want to say, one of the tools I use, one of the other talents I have.
And what styles of acting do you think you're most suited for as an actor? Which styles of acting?
Um, I like drama. I like high drama.
Mm.
Um, I want to say comedy as well, but my comedy comes off a little dark because I have to have that wittiness in there too. So definitely, I like comedies, dark comedies.
Now, what techniques do you use when you're developing a character as a playwright? Because you try to incorporate a little bit of yourself and your personality into the characters as well too. So for you, what techniques do you use?
Yeah, one technique that I use for character development, definitely I pull from my own experiences. I'm an observer of people, of life, and I tend to put components of whatever that is into one character, and which will create a person. So definitely I people watch a lot. and I pick up on personalities, and I take from that and develop my characters through that process. So
Now, what makes a performance believable for you as an actor? What makes a performance believable?
you got to feel it. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to go there. You got to be willing to open up. A lot of people, fear is a killer of creativity, you know, and you get on stage and, people can tell if you're uncomfortable. It's really, really easy. And then people can also tell when you're giving and you're in the moment, So I think what makes a really good actor is someone who's not afraid to go to the deepest levels of their emotions and bring all that out. That's great on camera and on stage.
Now, for you, because you wear so many hats, you write, you direct, you do it all, you act. How do you relax? So, what do you do in your downtime when you're not on set?
Yeah, well, I love to go to the gym. I have a lot of energy, so I burn that off. I'm big into cycling. At one point I wanted to be a spinning instructor, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But physical fitness, I love to cook. I'm a really, really good cook. And so, finding new recipes to create and do that. And then also, I'm a homebody. I love being home. I love to read. I'm a big reader. And that's kind of how I relax, kind of.
Yes. And that was another question that I wanted to ask you, balance, because when the pandemic hit in 2020, every almost doggone near everything was shut down. How did you manage with that? Because I know a lot of shows, with you working in theater, a lot of shows and Broadway, all of that was closed down. Everybody just sort of had to regroup. So for you, how was it for you in 2020?
It was a transition big time. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to like prepare. I have some friends on Broadway that were literally like they were in the middle of their show and they just got shut down, and actors were out of work. It was a mess. But that time also gave people a chance to reassess, you know, creatively what they wanted to do different. I know during that time I got into writing and I also got into photography. I got a camera. I was going out on my bike, just taking random pictures. So I found ways, to kind of still create.
Yes, and the crazy part about it is everybody was sending in their self-tape auditions, and now the world has
Change.
opened back up, and we see the shift is a big, 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 big
Yeah.
difference for a lot of us. So what are some tips and cues that you would give to up and coming actors? Because with you being a vet in the game, what are some tips and cues that you would give them to making the perfect self audition tape and sending it in and
Yes.
submitting it?
So definitely practice. Practice just being on camera. Read lots of plays. Go to the library. Take out plays. Read plays. Read monologues. Get to know playwrights. Work on your memorization. That's another thing. Memorization is vital because one thing that kills an audition, I want to say it's right up there with nervousness. If you are not directly looking at your point of reference, which is the camera of the person you're talking to, and one thing directors don't want you to do is, kind of be like this because, you don't know your lines and you're constantly holding the script and you're missing so many moments. So kind of get comfortable with orchestrating your audition. Learn your lines, learn to speak to camera with confidence. That's one thing, the major thing I tell my students for on-camera auditioning.
And even when you're doing commercials, that's the key thing. With me hosting this platform, I try to look at my cue cards. I look down and then I look up at the guest,
Yeah,
look down. Eye contact is everything.
everything.
I'm a Scorpio and I believe in that. I
Scorpio
try to be in eye
here too.
contact. And
Yep.
that is one key thing to having an excellent, outstanding self audition tape or even nailing a commercial. Make sure that you remember
Yeah.
the lines word for word.
And
And
just it goes back to what you said, like literally, I mean, honestly, I always say too, dialogue is secondary. It's about something that resonates from you. And through the eyes, you get all of that. You don't have to utter a line of dialogue, but if I'm looking you dead in your eyes, I could be conveying anything. And if you pick that up, the camera eats that up.
absolutely. And we got a question from my brother. Shout outs to my brother, the K2 Spot. Make sure you guys please go and check out his platform. And he's also collabed with me on some
Nice.
episodes here on my show. He says, what is one of your biggest projects that you would want to accomplish in the future?
Definitely it's tied to writing. So what I would love to do is get a play produced either on Broadway or the West End. And I'm working on that silently right now, but kind of that's definitely in the back of my mind.
All right, all right. So, for you as a creative, as a playwright, my next question for you is what habits do you use? What habits do you create to increase your motivation? Like, what keeps you going? What are some habits that keep you going?
Passes to keep me motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Habits to keep you motivated.
Well, okay. Yeah. So just getting out into the world, getting out into the world, and life is going to teach you a whole lot. It's going to inspire you to do a whole lot, and you got to be open to that. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Get out into the world, like I said, get out into the world because you can use all those experiences into your art. And sometimes, another thing I tell some students say to me, "Well, I don't have inspiration. I don't." I say, "Then you need to live. You need to go out and live, you know, and don't be afraid." And I'm like, "Don't take this wrong. Don't be afraid to be messy sometimes because you have to get that out of your system, and you learn so much from that. So definitely life is something that inspires me tremendously."
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, my next question for you is what's the best reality that you wish for, and how does it compare to your present?
I want to say, hmm, a reality that I wish for in the comparison to my present. Um,
Yes.
I guess I could say getting my SAG card. That was something I always wanted. My Screen Actors Guild card. I really worked hard for it. It's a hard thing to get. And then when you get it, it's an investment. But I wanted it, I got it, and it opened up a whole lot of doors for me professionally. So definitely that was a wish come true.
Yes, and you striked it off the bucket list. Me, I like to create vision
Yeah.
boards. So almost everything that I've put on my vision board has now come to fruition. And I've checked it off. Each and everything that I've put on there, I've checked it off. I did it back in what,
Mhm.
2023. And to now see it come to fruition as well too is just remarkable. It's amazing. So another question that I have for you is what do you think your future self would advise you to do? Because we talk a lot about
Yeah.
legacy here on the show and leaving an impact. So, what would your future self advise you to do?
Future self. I want to say just to continue to sort of be true to myself and what I choose to create in the world. Don't second guess that. You know, um, Sometimes I think what happens is we tend to feel like we have to adapt to certain trends in order to be successful. And
Yes,
I think for me, my future self wants me to be true to who I am and to continue to walk my individual path. And I think through that, that's where I'll be more successful.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the year has flown by so fast. What else are you manifesting for the year 2025? Because a lot has happened throughout the year 2024. As
Yeah,
I've mentioned, we
yeah.
woke up talking about in the beginning of the show. 2025, what is something that you're manifesting for the future of 2025?
Definitely international travel. Definitely international travel. I know we're in a crazy time still, but I still, want to see other places. Um, Actually, at the end of the week, I have an audition for a traveling show, and I hear that they might go international. I'm not sure, but I don't know. Maybe that might be the vehicle. I'm not sure yet, but definitely, regardless, international travel.
All right, all right. Now, as far as the character aspect, I'm gonna go back to that because there's a lot of actors that do method acting and they pull from personal experience, and then when they're on set, they're so deep into that character that when they go home and they detox, it's just like the character is still in them. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I get you.
They take that character with them. So, what advice would you give to them? Because I remember it was Lupita. She said for doing the film Us, for that character, she literally had to detox because the character was so deep. You get so deep and caught up into it. So what advice would you give to actors who struggle with that?
Yeah, you have to have something to balance that out, especially if it's something that's, you know, really challenging, character-wise. And, you balance that out with something lighthearted. So if it's heavy, you need something lighthearted to sort of bring it down a little bit. And try your best not to take your work home with you, because your home should be your safe place. You want to bring that energy in with you. So it's a matter of sort of walking the parallel of, okay, this is heavy, but over here, this is where it's going to be light, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you could change anything about the acting industry, what is one thing that you would change?
I want to say we're getting better at this, but I don't think we're quite there just yet. I'm happy where we're going, but I want it to be even more inclusive. Um, on multiple levels, because I think there's a lot of talent out here, like crazy talent, but because of certain barriers that are still in place, those people aren't visible. And so I really, really hope that, people are given a real fair chance.
The same here, and that's why I've created my platform
Hmm.
as a black
Yep.
woman. I wanted
Yep.
to make sure that other people had a voice as well too. You
Yeah.
see me, you see the face of it because
Yeah.
I also
Yep.
have co-hosts with it. But I want to make sure that I'm representing other people at home as well too, different audiences.
Yeah.
So everyone is included and everyone is welcome here. That's why I call it the dollhouse because I welcome you guys with love. You love the
Yeah.
fashions, you love the guests, you love
Yeah.
everything.
That's good.
But I want to make sure that you guys all at home are included in some aspect. So inclusivity in the acting industry is definitely needed. And do you see the shift that is now happening as far as actors of color taking different roles? Because that is a thing in the business where you get typecasted, especially predominantly black male
Yep.
actors. They get typecasted for one specific role. Do you, as a black man, Dewayne, do you see that? And as an actor and as a playwright, do you see that shift, that change, where more and more black actors are stepping outside of the norm?
Yeah, no, it's happening, I think, across the board. I used to rant about this back in the days, but I used to say, especially when I was getting started, I'm like, look, I ain't playing no slave, and I'm not playing, and not doing porch plays. But I'm really, really happy to see that there's so much new stuff coming out from, directors, and also, again, playwrights. Playwrights are writing really unique stories now, about people of color. And there are different perspectives that are being viewed and talked about now that back in the day you wouldn't have heard anything like that.
Oh,
So I'm happy where we're going. It's a new time, and we're telling new stories, which is good.
absolutely. And we're seeing actors step outside of the bound and do things they wouldn't normally do. Because typically
Yep.
for black male characters, you would see them as the thug, as the, I mean, all sorts
Oh
of
yeah.
things. But it's just like, it's so much to us as black people. We're multifaceted, we're not a monolith.
Yep.
And Queen Downhearted wants to know, have you ever done a movie before?
The movie. But yeah, I had a cameo. So I had a cameo, and it's with Sandra Bullock. I did The Heat with Sandra Bullock, and I played a detective.
Ah,
So that was one I did. I did a television show. Had a cameo on that. It was All My Children. It was years ago. And then I had a lot of commercial spots because I was a commercial actor. So mainly a lot of stuff I did on camera was commercially related.
and she wants to know, who would you want to be in a movie with?
Casting. You audition for things. If they take a liking to you, they introduce you to producers, then you audition for producers, and if they like you, you got the job. So that's kind of how it went.
All right, fashion dolls. Do we have any more questions for myself or Dewayne before we get into our games here? This conversation is so good, and I hope you guys all are taking something from this because this can be pivotal and help you if you are trying to get out here and become an actor. Now, if you could go open a show as a playwright, as an actor that has done theater and Broadway, if you could go and open a show on Broadway for any actor, dead or alive, who would that be?
With any actor, dead or alive. That's a hard one. Hmm. I got to think about that one. Dead
When I think
or alive?
of Broadway, I think of Felicia Rashad. I
Oh,
think
Felicia Rashad.
of
Yeah, of course.
Rosalie.
Felicia Rashad. Oh my God, yeah. Felicia Rashad. She's amazing. Um, oh my gosh. Who else? Actually, you know who's actually really good on Broadway? Most Def.
Mm.
He's phenomenal. He actually played, I believe, in this play called Top Dog Underdog. And he was phenomenal. I think I saw him a couple of years ago on Broadway do that piece, and he ate it up. He ate it up.
Oh, absolutely. And we got two more questions for you. We see more questions coming in. Keep them coming, Fashion Dolls. Queen Downhearted wants to know, how about modeling?
Modeling? Is
Mm-hmm.
that? Yeah, I did. So I did. Yeah, I did some modeling in my 20s. Um, I had an agent for like 6 months, and then I decided to go independent from that. But back in the day, I would model for things like AJ Wright. I would model for like Target. I did a fashion show for, I don't know if you remember the line Baby Fat, Russell Simmons' Baby Fat line.
Yes.
So I used to be in those ads back in the day. But yeah, I did some modeling.
And shout outs to Chrissy. Hey, Chris. Hey, Boo. Chrissy wants to know, Dewayne, what kind of music do you like? Because I'm curious to know too. We got to have a playlist that gets us motivated and going through the
Motivated.
day. I'm a big Beyonce. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a big Beyonce fan.
Okay.
Hence the hair. I have to go
All
with the
right.
highlights today. But
I get it. I get it.
what?
I'm pretty much eclectic. But I love the classics. I'm an old school kind of music lover. I love people that know me well. They know I love Tina Turner.
Uh,
So that was like one of my big music people that I really love a lot. Got to see her many times. I love Prince, Michael Jackson. That whole '80s boom of like legends. That's my playlist basically. But I like some new stuff too.
we've lost so many icons throughout you just named. I remember seeing the news that she passed, and I just couldn't believe it. I think it was a Saturday she passed, and K Tooks, who's in the comments, I called him. I said, "Brother, Tina Turner just passed away." I was scrolling, we were on the phone talking, and it just flashed across the screen. It said, "Rock and roll, the queen of rock and roll has passed,"
Yeah,
and it gave her age and everything. So I remember it just like it was yesterday. And as far as Prince, that's another one. That
yeah,
one threw me for a loop
that
too,
was
because I
shocking.
remember
Yeah,
we talk about artistry and performance. It's one performance you guys have to go out there. If you know, you know.
yeah.
Where it's like this light pole. He was climbing. I think it was him. It was James Brown and it was
Oh
Michael
man, that
Jackson.
was.
They all
Yeah, I remember that.
climbed up there to the top of the light
And the
pole
light
and
went
took
down. Yeah,
Prince. Prince was just crazy
yeah,
talented. Not just crazy creative, but he was crazy
yeah,
talented. Like the able, and we don't really see a whole lot of musicians nowadays. I mean,
yeah.
maybe a couple like her and who else? Of course, Alicia Keys
He's
that
young.
play the piano, that play keyboard. Sheila E. still living, of course. I mean, it's so many that play instruments
Yeah.
and incorporated into their music live. We don't see that, whereas you see the artists come out with the instrumental or the backing track.
Mhm.
So I miss that.
Yeah, Prince was multi-talented. I mean, he could play every instrument. Like it's crazy. It was amazing.
He would do all kinds of stuff. Like we would see him literally get up and put his leg on the keyboard.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
wow.
He was split, run across the stage. Yeah, I remember that.
And I have a picture of Prince. So yes, he's definitely one for the books. Now for you, because we've talked about icons
Mhm.
and legends. For you, what do you want to be remembered for the most? Because you've been doing this for a very long time, and we talk about leaving a legacy. So many people we've lost so many people this year. I mean, from James Earl Jones, who is
Yeah,
another
yeah,
great in Broadway as well too.
yeah,
Starting at
yeah.
theater. It's so many. For you, how important is legacy to you, and what do you want to be remembered for the most?
Legacy is important. I think, definitely being an artist that put out good work, that put out something that can maybe transcend time, something that's timeless. Usually, artists that put, or create good work, there is no barrier in terms of time because there's no time. That's how like precious their creation is. So definitely someone that put out quality work. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And even for me, with hosting this platform, I said, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here. There's going to be the next girl that is going to come along and do the same exact thing that I'm doing. So you make sure you pass that torch on down. That's how, legacy works when you leave it on. And now I have an 11-month-old nephew who's already walking and getting into
Okay.
things. So I want to make sure that when I've left my legacy, he knows that I've made my mark, and not only just hosting this platform, but fashion, whatever it may be, just knowing that I had some sort of impact on changing the world. And that's what should be for the next generation, the next few years and decades to come. So, yeah. All right, fashion dolls. Are y'all ready to have some fun? Because I'm ready to have some fun with Dewayne. All right? So, the first thing we're going to do is called the Rapid Five. And I did this yesterday with Dylan Wilson. We had such a great time. And then we are going to do something else called Turning Tables.
Okay.
Now, Turning Tables is where my guests get to ask me questions, as many as they want. It can be on anything: fashion, beauty, television, family, friends, what relation. Well, I think someone asked me about my relationship not too
Oh
long
yeah.
ago. Yes. So I'm like, I don't have one. I don't have one. I'm single. I don't have one. So we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are five things that Dwayne can't live without?
Can't live without. All right. Number one, I'm gonna say good coffee. In the morning, I gotta have my coffee. I'm a different person before coffee, So definitely coffee is one. I love two fragrances. I love to smell good. Colognes, really good colognes. I love foods. Um, I'm into like woodsy, spicy, sweet. Like it just, gets into the senses. I love that stuff. Uh, three, gonna say, because the holidays are coming up, sweet potato pie. Love sweet potato pie. Nothing like it. It's my favorite. um, let's see. Next, four, maybe a good book. Like I like to read, like to stay, mentally stimulated. And let's see. What's next? I'm gonna say the gym because physical fitness is important for me. I stay in the gym constantly. I love to work up a sweat. It's just good for everything. So yeah, I think that's the main one.
All right, fashion dolls, there you have it. And I love to read as well too. I'm always in a book. I'm always keeping my head in a book, always writing, always doing research, and especially for this platform. Like yesterday's interview, my guest was like, "How does she know all of this stuff? You did your homework." For every single guest that I've had on this show, I have to make sure that I'm on top of it, that I'm accurate. Everything is 100% perfect. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm a perfect consummate. I like everything to be smoothly. So yeah, always in a book. But I'm a little nervous about this segment right here.
Okay.
My heart is beating so fast. I have no clue what he is going to ask me, so I'm going to pass it on down to Dwayne, and Dwayne is going to ask me some questions for my new viewers out there that are just coming in. You'll get to know a little bit about me. Other than the fashions, you guys know I love fashion, but you'll get to know a little bit more about me. So I'm going to pass it on down to Dwayne, and Dwayne is going to ask me some questions. Take it away.
Okay. So my first question for you is, on your downtime, what is your favorite thing to do?
On my downtime, what do I like to do? I love to read. I'm always in a book. I'm always writing. I'm always behind the scenes being goofy, being clown, being like a clown, laughing, having a good time, always making my mom and everybody else laugh. That's something you guys don't see. And K Tukes has seen it. Other people have seen it behind the scenes, close to me. But that's what I do behind the scenes. If not that, I love to shop. If you know me, I love to shop. I'm always, do not send me to Ulta or Sephora. And I
Come
think
back with
my
bags.
yes, I, I am a makeup lover. If you guys seen quickly when my camera switched earlier, you would have seen how many fragrances and stuff I had stacked up. Yeah, I love makeup. I love fragrance. I love beauty products. So those are some of the things that I like to do. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so then my next question then would be, if you could sit down with any celebrity, past or present, and pick their brain for like 25 to a half an hour, uh, who would that be? Who would that person be?
Ooh. I would say Taraji P. Henson because we're so much alike. I'm a girl's girl. She's a girl's girl, and we both goofy. We like to have a good time. We see her in character. I mean, it's Cookie Lyons. She was laser focused on that character, but seeing her outside of it, the humorous side, seeing her behind the scenes, we both yeah, that would be a great interview. So Taraji.
All right. Um, who inspires you the most?
Well, I'm surrounded by amazing women, so I would have to say my mom.
Okay,
My
nice.
mom is a
Can't
Libra,
go wrong there.
October 7th. I'm a
That's good.
Scorpio. My birthday is next week, my 31st.
Okay,
So, Halloween. And I think I get my fire and I want to say my sass from her.
okay.
She's a fighter. Libras sometimes can be stubborn,
Um,
but I think I get it from her. I think I get it from her. They say you are your mother's child, so I get it from her.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess, yeah, my last question would be, um, if you could grant yourself one wish, what would that wish be?
Oh, if I could grant myself one wish. If I could just grant one wish, it wouldn't be for myself. I would be selfless. It would be for the world.
Mm.
For everybody to just be in a decent place. Everybody to have clean air, clean water, all of that. If I could just grant one wish, that would be it. All of us would benefit off of that. That's how selfless I
Definitely,
am.
definitely.
That one.
All right. Nice. I think that was my last question, but that was a good answer. That was a real good answer. So,
Yes, I would say to that I could probably get a Hermes bag. That would be my
okay.
special wish. But
No, no, you got to
since
give yourself something. If you do a wish, if you want to wish like that, you got to give yourself a little something. So, yeah.
be selfless with it, and my mom, she's always taught us that. I have four brothers and I have two sisters,
Oh, wow.
and out of each sibling, we all have our own personality. So she taught each and every one of us, myself and my brothers included, and my sister, to be selfless, to care about people, to be
Mhm.
nurturing. And I think I get that from her, as well as the part of me being fiery and feisty. I think I get that from her as well too. I don't know. It's a Scorpio thing. We're quick tempered.
Now, I get it.
We're
We
sane.
can be. We definitely can be. I'm a Scorpio too, so I know how we can be.
Yes. So Fashion Dolls, do we have any last minute questions for myself or Dewayne? This conversation is so good. And again, I hope you all learned something from it. There's so many people out here that want to become an actor, that want to playwright, that want to write their own scripts, that want to direct. Do you see the booming talent out here that is coming up, that is creating their own projects? Mainly black filmmakers, writers, directors producing their own projects. We see the Ava DuVernays of the world. We see the Spike Lees, the oh my God, I forgot his name, Ryan Coogler. We
Yep.
see so many of them that are coming out and creating their own projects. And of course, they're backed by studios, but I love how they start from the beginning, to get their way up there, to build their brand up to where it's at. Another one of my favorites is Gina Prince, Life with
Yep.
Love and Basketball, The Secret Life of Bees. I mean, it's so many. So, what advice would you give to the next generation of up and coming playwriters, directors, and screenwriters?
Definitely, again, study the greats, study people who've won things like Pulsars or Tonys. Um, go to theater, go see theater, be a spectator. Put yourself in those environments because it's contagious. When you see a good piece of art, that you want to go ahead and do something just as good, if not better. So definitely be immersed in that world. It's beneficial.
Absolutely, Fashion Dolls. And Before we let you go, are there any words of wisdom that you would like to give to your supporters, to the fashion dolls? What would you tell them?
I would just say again, be true to yourself. It's so important to be true to yourself, and don't be afraid to be unique, because when you're unique people see that, especially like casting directors. They don't want someone who looks like every other thing that's out there. They want a new perspective, and that's what will get you in the role. So don't be afraid to be yourself.
Absolutely. And today's final thought comes from Broadway actress, of course, Jane Fonda. She says, that taught me that power has to come from inside. It has to come from knowing who you are, why you're on earth, and what is the meaning of your life. So remember that we all have a sole purpose, fashion dolls. And my purpose here was to continue to bring happiness and joy, of course, to make sure that you guys are okay. And we have to look out for one another in these times. As me and Dewayne stated in the beginning of the interview during our introduction, when we were greeting each other, make sure that you are taking care of each other. So that's why I asked, how's 2024? Because everybody's 2024 has been
Different,
different.
yeah.
We've had some highs, we've had some lows. Yes. So make sure that you guys are staying grounded. Surround yourself with people who love and care for you. That's what's mostly key and important, especially during this cycle we're having. We're seeing the shift, but stay grounded, stay focused, and surround yourself with people who love and care. And I want to thank each and every one of you who has been reaching out to me, whether it may be K Tukes. She's not here today, but shout outs to my girl Hypnotic Skincare, black owned business in the
Okay,
Atlanta, Georgia area. So
nice.
please make sure y'all go and check her out. Love her body scrubs. That's why the skin is over here flawless today. I had to wear this gown to show how flawless the skin is looking and is giving. So shout outs to Hypnotic Skincare on that. Y'all please go and check her out. Who else has been checking on me? My best friend, my classmate. I went to school with her, my girlfriend Felicia, always checking on me. She's like my sister. Always been there every step of the way. So thank you all so much for your love and your support. And Dewayne, where can everyone follow you and
Um,
check you out?
I'm on basic Instagram, Yoso Gomo. That's my name. It's my main personal page. So that's where you can find me. All my journey and history. It's all on my page. So that's where you can find me.
All right, fashion dolls. And with that being said, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Guess what? It's Fierce Female Friday, and my girl Mel's Safe Space, she is joining me tomorrow. We're going to talk about regrouping, staying centered, and protecting your peace tomorrow during this crazy election cycle. Make sure that you guys are tuned in. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to Style by Stevie Daytime. And guess what? This will be 694, interview 694. We are on the road to 700. So thank you guys so much for subscribing, leaving your comments, coming back, leaving your feedback, catching the replays, engaging and interacting. I appreciate it so much. So thank you all for just tuning in to Style by Stevie. And I will see y'all tomorrow, Fashion Dolls. Take care and God bless.
Thanks, David.